It was a rainy October evening when Emma arrived at Blackwood Manor. She had inherited the old estate from a distant relative she had never met, a relative who had died under mysterious circumstances. The locals in the nearby village avoided the manor, speaking in hushed tones about shadows that moved in the windows and voices that carried across the night. Emma, being a skeptic and a city dweller, dismissed it all as superstition. The manor was enormous, a sprawling Gothic structure with ivy crawling up its walls. Its windows were like dark staring eyes, and the iron gates groaned as she pushed them open. She stepped inside, the scent of damp wood and decay filling her nostrils. Her footsteps echoed unnaturally loud, as though the house was listening to her every move. The first night passed uneventfully, though Emma couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. But by the second night, things began to change. She awoke to a faint whispering, soft and indistinct, coming from somewhere deep within the manor. It sounded like someone was speaking directly into her mind, a language she couldn't understand, yet somehow knew she shouldn't ignore. Curiosity led her through the darkened halls, her flashlight trembling in her hand. The whispers grew louder, now seeming to swirl around her, coming from the walls, the floors, even the ceiling. And then she saw it. A shadow, unnervingly human in shape, moving across the far hallway. It stopped as she stopped, its form flickering in and out of existence. Emma tried to leave the manor, but the front door refused to budge, as though it had fused with the night itself. Panic set in. She ran through corridors she had never seen before, hallways that twisted impossibly, doors leading to rooms that defied logic. Each room contained relics of the past, old portraits with eyes that followed her, cracked mirrors reflecting a face that was not her own, and furniture that seemed to breathe. Hours or perhaps days passed. Time had lost all meaning. The whispers became voices, each speaking in a different tone, some pleading, some angry, some mocking, and the shadow grew closer, taking form. A gaunt figure, hollow eyes, long, spindly fingers reaching toward her. Emma discovered an old diary in the library, belonging to her late relative. The entries were frantic, written in smeared ink, detailing encounters with the Watcher, a being bound to the manor, feeding on fear and trapping souls. It was said that those who entered the house after dusk would never leave. Her heart sank as she realized she was reading her own fate. The shadow appeared again, this time whispering her name. She could hear the scrape of its nails on the wooden floor, slow and deliberate. Desperation made her flee to the attic, the highest point of the manor. There, she found a small, dusty trunk. Inside was a collection of stratafacts, black candles, dried herbs, and a ceremonial dagger. A note in trembling handwriting instructed her to perform a ritual to banish the Watcher, but it came with a warning. Fail, and it will claim you as it did all before. With trembling hands, Emma followed the instructions, the shadows pressing against the walls, trying to escape through the windows, through the ceiling, through her very mind. She plunged the dagger into the heart of a carved symbol on the attic floor, chanting the words from the diary. For a moment, everything went silent. The shadows recoiled, then dissipated into thin air. The manor seemed to exhale, as though it had been holding its breath for centuries. Emma, exhausted and terrified, stumbled outside as dawn broke. The first sunlight she had seen in what felt like an eternity. She thought she had escaped, but as she glanced back at Blackwood Manor, she froze. A face appeared in the attic window, her own face, twisted into a sinister smile, and she realized, with horror, that the Watcher had not left the manor. It had left a part of itself inside her. And from that day forward, whenever she whispered to herself in the dark, she could hear the whispers of Blackwood Manor answering back.